I would say a lot of people have trauma. Hurt people hurt people. So you find a lot of us are zombies, so to speak, in the sense that we are just moving in an emotional daze where we have unaddressed issues. You find a lot of predators are people who are preyed on at some point. They are survivors in some sense. But because they didn't address the emotional trauma, they pass it on to someone else as a way of venting or expressing their disappointment or anger or whatever emotional distress they have. So you keep enhancing the cycle by transferring to someone else, and that person gives it to someone else, and and it becomes a big hot mess. I would say it's emotional trauma, unaddressed issues. And some issues people don't even know they have. So you can't address what you don't know you have. I was in a situation whereby our house girl led me to be raped twice. Okay, attempted rape twice. This is someone who my mother's employed to ensure I transition from school to home. Okay, I get my tea, I do my assignments, I've showered, So for me, we call them auntie. So she's auntie to me. But auntie has taken me to some young men. She's left me there. And she's standing outside waiting for them to finish what they're doing. And then she can now take me home. But I was able to get out twice. But I did not tell my mom until 3 years ago. Why? Because coincidentally, around the same time, there was a show airing about rape. And my family talked about, what was the girl doing there? What was she wearing? She must have been wearing something revealing. She must have been doing she. So it became the victim's fault that she was raped. So why would I say it? It comes back to culture. We are in a culture where women are told, do not do this, don't dress like that, don't go here, don't do this. But what are the men being told? Are the men being told anything? There's an article I read about a lady who was lecturing some students, and they were talking about the roles of men in society. They were shouting, the men were like, we're protectors and they're providers and everything. We're like, yeah, but what are you protecting from? Are the women? From what? Rapists and thieves and who are they? Men. So it's ironic that we're in a situation where we're talking about all these things, but when you think about it, girls are being told, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, but the men are not being told, don't do this, period. Do not look at a woman as an object of whatever. Whether you are feeling it or not, she's not something you're supposed to go to. So when you go back to the emotional trauma of it, for me, I use myself as an example. For years, I hated men. I couldn't stand the sight of a man near me. And I hated women because in my mind, if auntie can take me there, who else can take me there? And stay there and wait for it to be done. So when you look at those who are actually raped, or even those who've gone through assault or anything close to this, when they're living their lives, whether they're victims or survivors, victims alive and survivors, or they were able to get away in time, there's that mental trauma of one, who can I trust? I can't trust anyone. That's why you find a lot of people are so super guarded. It makes no sense. They're like, no, I don't do this, don't touch me, don't do this, don't do this. And you're thinking, msichana ako bougie, but they're not bougie. They just have some trauma that's still lingering in their minds. There's the other aspect of like stalkers, because those 3 men still followed me to school every day after that, trying to get me. So I had to run to school. So for me as a child, every morning was right. When we get to the gate, we have to run like our life depends on it, because my life did depend on it. But I couldn't tell my parents because there's also that relationship that wasn't there at that time. So I don't have anyone to tell. So you find I had depression when I was a young child because of all these things going on. So you find a lot of young women, young men are carrying things because the environment does not allow them to speak up. You have families who talk about other people and their situations in such a way that it's condescending and it's blame games of they were there for it, they wanted it. When you look at your friends, if I was to come to her and tell her, this happened to me last night, you find, like, well, what are you doing there? You must have wanted it. Why would I report the case? And it covers all these things that everyone has brought up. Even that's why it makes the process of evidence such a problem. I want to report it, but I need support, but she won't support me. She's making it my fault. So I go back to my mind and think, maybe it was. maybe I actually wanted it. Did I actually say yes? Maybe I said yes and and then you find now they're tormenting themselves and they just don't even report it, and then suicide comes up. Other people take it a notch higher and become vengeance perfecters. So because I was done this, I'm going to ensure this happens to someone else. You find stories of women who have HIV, they're like, I have to pass it on. Men, the same thing. So when you look at the culture, when you look at the traumas, individual and from the society, it all comes back to who am I? The relationship with God and relationship with myself. Can I admit to myself, I'm a toxic person, I have a problem, I have this, I have that, I need to handle it. If you can't handle yourself and your relationship with whatever sovereignty you serve, then it means the people around you will be affected by your decisions. And it's a ripple effect. It starts here, it's a drop here, next thing you know, it's affected Olivia in her small state. So it's just a matter of starts with self, search thyself, fix thyself, and then you'll find the community slowly adjusting.